And now it's time for the IVSMS Power Panel 3. Their topic, the auto brand is built or killed at the dealership. Best practices for exponential success. To participate in this discussion, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Nikunj Sanghi, past President FADA and President ASDC. Mr. Nikunj Sanghi is the Managing Director of JS 4-Wheel and Director of FADA, and also manages the 4S dealership of Hero Motorcorp Limited. In the past, Mr. Sanghi has represented Mahindra & Mahindra Limited for utility vehicles, light commercial vehicles and tractors, Kelvinator of India Limited for mopeds, Royal Enfield Motors and Motorcycles, LML Limited for motorcycles and scooters, Hero Honda Motors Limited for motorcycles and scooters, and Honda Power Production Limited for portable engines and gensets. He has received the Rajasthan government citation for contribution to the beautification of Alwar city, the best service dealer for Honda Parts Products Limited, the Roll of Honor for best human resource policies among Mahindra dealership, Roll of Honor for best systems and processes among Mahindra dealerships, as well as the Certificate of Merit for best all-round performance amongst Mahindra dealers for the years 2003 to 2004, 2004, 2005 and 2005-2006. Among the various positions held by him are Advisor, Tractor and Automobile Dealers Association Alwar, Member Managing Committee Centre of Excellence ITI Alwar, Member Industrial Advisory Committee Government of Rajasthan, Council Member Alwar Chapter, the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, and Member Auto Retail Task Force FICCI New Delhi. He is a member of the Rotary Club of Alwar and trustee Royal Rotary Club Charitable Trust, Jaipur Kalgari Eye Hospital and Rajasthan Swasthya Yoga Parishad, and also Vice President SML Blood Bank Charitable Trust. Please welcome him with a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I would also like to welcome Mr. Tanuj Pugalia, CMD Gallops Group. A Bachelor of Commerce from DG Ruparel College, Mumbai, Maharashtra, Mr. Tanuj Pugalia has been involved in the family FMCG business from 1998 and later diversified into automobile industry from 2004 onwards. Mr. Pugalia is passionately involved in business networking, traveling and socializing. His hobbies include listening to music and reading. May I welcome Mr. Pugalia on stage? A round of applause, please. Mr. Manohar Bhat, Head Marketing and Sales, Kia Motors India. Mr. Manohar Bhat is responsible for marketing, sales and after-sales services operations. He is working towards building the brand Kia as a household name in India by setting an aggressive marketing strategy for India. Mr. Bhat is an automotive industry veteran with 25 years of experience. He has headed various marketing and sales functions nationally with major Indian automakers. Mr. Bhat, is he here? Yes, please welcome on stage. I would also like to welcome on stage Mr. Hardeep Brar, Director Sales and Network, Nissan India. Mr. Brar has over 2 decades of experience in automotive sector, largely with Maruti Suzuki in sales, marketing and dealer development. Besides Maruti Suzuki, he has worked with Volkswagen and General Motors. He is currently Director Sales and Commercials with Nissan Motor Corporation, India. Mr. Brar is a Harvard alumnus and an avid marathon runner. Welcome, sir. I would also like to invite once again on stage Mr. Kshitij Saxena, CEO Autoninja, and also would like to welcome Mr. Saxena, please. Would also like to, please, a round of applause for Mr. Saxena. I would also like to welcome on stage Mr. Rishab Malik, co-founder Droom. With over 10 years of experience in strategy, finance, and entrepreneurship in the US, UK, India, and Singapore, Mr. Malik has been a founder, investor, and mentor to several technology startups in Southeast Asia and India. He has served as the operating partner and founding team member of GSF India, India's largest and most successful technology accelerator program for early stage startups. At GSF, he has successfully managed a portfolio of 11 startups with focus on portfolios such as product, business development, hiring, and fundraising strategies. He holds a bachelor's degree in economics and business from the University of Texas at Austin and a master's in business administration from INSEAD. His other interests include teaching corporate finance and business planning. He is also an avid golfer and bridge player. Welcome, sir. And of course, I would like to also welcome once more Mr. Anuj Guglani, CEO World Auto Forum. Mr. Guglani will be the moderator. Please welcome them all with a loud round of applause.
Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. Check. Yeah, it's working now. Okay, so good afternoon, friends. So how was the lunch? It was good? We had nice. Should we discuss lunch first? What say? How was the fish? How was the butter chicken, the dal, the rice, the jalebi? Unless, I see anyone just dozing off to sleep on mentioning the menu. So friends, we already had 2 keynotes, very interesting, engaging videos. And as they say, the post-lunch session is always very, very dangerous. It's like a graveyard of any summit. So I think we have a very distinguished panel here, and I think excitement is guaranteed. We couldn't have had a more balanced panel. We have 2 persons from the dealer fraternity. Nikunj sir, office bearer of FADA. We have Mr. Pugalia. Again, so many dealerships, just like Nikunj sir. We have 2 gentlemen from the OEMs. One is already there, doing the business, doing the operations. One setting up its shop, already invested a bomb of money, 300,000 per annual capacity, the entire country, looking at the new brand, the new company coming up. And they also had won our award for the Auto Expo Pavilion. Congratulations once again. And we have 2 tech entrepreneurs, disruptors, the digital people. Everybody is turning to them, how digital will disrupt and already disrupting the automotive industry. In fact, Rishab and I were having a, if I can call it a fireside chat outside. We were wondering what would be the difference in the next 10 years. Like nobody could have envisaged Uber or a Ola or a WhatsApp, 10 years back. Right now, so many people are not buying cars anymore or not an additional car anymore. If I take my household, we had 3 cars, we sold off 1 car. The 3rd car now is Uber. That's the 3rd car. That's my car. I never use my family car. That's for family. I use Uber all the time. So things are changing. The consumer behavior is changing. As I had mentioned even during my presentation, the customers are now used to Amazon and Flipkart. Customers are used to Amazon Prime. Customers are used to getting delivery within 2 hours of clicking the pay or the submit button. But is buying a vehicle, whether a CV, PV or a 2-wheeler, or getting it serviced as easy as it can be for other products? Yes, one can say buying a 1,000 rupee or a 500 bucks headphone on Amazon is easier. Buying a 5 lakh car is much more complicated. But things can change. 10 years back, nobody was even buying a 1,000 rupee headphone, right? So things are changing, things are getting disrupted. So we are here to talk about dealership. And when we say we talk about dealership, we will not say just the dealer owners or DPs. It is a common game. We are all stakeholders. Whether it is digital, whether it's OEMs or the dealers, we have to be one team. The OEMs cannot say, मैंने पढ़ा दिया, मैंने सिखा दिया, मैंने बता दिया. Now it's the dealer's game. The dealers cannot say, मेरी मर्जी, मेरा business है. The digital people, I don't know whether it's, I might say that we cannot work without dealers right now. Probably the dealers themselves might become more digital than the digital companies right now. You never know. So things are changing at a very rapid pace because please remember, The business acumen which the dealer fraternity has is incomparable. You know, that's the business acumen which any Harvard or any Yale or any Ivy League would die for. Our dealer fraternity, our family-run businesses, the family business wisdom which has been passed on generation to generation. If you see the Marwari way of accounting, people have done PhDs on that. You know, they are highly respected ways. So we don't have to wait for a Harvard to say that this system of accounting is world class. We have to appreciate on our own. So coming back to the topic, we're going to discuss in 26 minutes, 49 seconds as per the countdown, how the brands in the dealership, through the dealership, get built or killed. And it's not just the dealership, it is a common game, it's a common responsibility, it's a common vision. So if you can start with Hardeep with you. You are heading the sales and the dealer network for Nissan India, and you've been an industry veteran yourself. What is your take on not just customer experience, but everything which happens through the dealership?
Okay, it's always difficult to open. The ball is swinging, yeah, and the conditions are fresh. So, okay, let me share from my experience what I feel is, you know, when customer comes to your showroom, he comes with certain expectations in mind. Every brand has some kind of promise which is built based on the kind of ads that you see or the kind of aura that you have in the market or in the international market. So when customer walks into a dealership, he has certain expectations in his mind. And when he walks in, and if the showroom infrastructure, the kind of interaction, the kind of people, the way they are groomed, if there's a lot of difference between what he's expecting and what he gets when he walks into the dealership, he completely gets, that's a first jolt for him, right? And it's very, very important that, you know, the brand promise and the on-ground delivery is quite in sync. Just to give you example of some of the good dealerships, you know, the manpower are absolutely well-groomed, the infrastructure looks very flashy, and not only during the day when the customer is walking into the showrooms, also during the night, when somebody is passing by your setup and he's looking at your dealership, he says, wow, all the lights are on, the fascia is well lit. While I also understand during the times of pressure, you know, in order to save costs, we tend to switch off lights and, you know, shut off the fascia, and it goes unnoticed. But when you look at some of the best dealerships, they're always well lit in the night, the fascias are on, and even when you are passing by in the night, it creates brand image for not only you, but also for the parent brand as well. Similarly, when you walk into a showroom, a consultant who's not very well groomed, has a beard grown, not a consultant like me, but a normal consultant who has his little bit of beard grown, it doesn't give a very good impression about the consultant, and hence customer feels alienated about the brand. Hence, it's very, very critical that the infrastructure and manpower are the two key things, as per me, which really makes or breaks the brand, not only for the dealership, but also for the corporates. Just to take it a little further, when you look at the mass market brands, when you walk into the showrooms, you will find there are so many products, and we all want to promote each and every brand, each and every product, and in the process, we just fill up the dealership with so many posters, banners, all over, right? And when you walk into the showroom, you feel, is it really the showroom which I wanted to really walk into, right? And you will always find two set of dealers. There are dealer owners who take care of their brand. They know what is required in the showroom, what kind of people are required, what kind of infrastructure is required, and they completely take care of that. And on the other hand, while they want to do their best, but they don't understand the value of the brand and what impression they are creating on the customers, and hence ignore these things. So I think infrastructure, manpower, training are the three crucial factors to build or break the brand at the dealerships.
Okay, so Hardeep mentioned a couple of points: infrastructure, manpower, and training. Well, as far as my memory goes, when I was working with General Motors, this was like, I started working with Honda cars almost like 20 years back, and I left General Motors 11 years back, and I was taking care of training. So even then, it was the same thing which was said: infrastructure, manpower, and training. and training. Wherever, I remember wherever the market share would drop or the sales would drop, our MD would just ask me to pack my bags and go to the dealership, sit there for a while, train the teams, groom the teams and come back. But then I feel that if the same thing was, yeah, it's just like bathing, you have to, bathe every day. But why is it that these three things are the perpetual pain points? Is it lack of clarity, lack of seriousness, lack of ownership? What is the reason? Nikunj sir, if we can ask you, why is it that infrastructure, training and manpower still remain the biggest challenges, as mentioned by Hardeep?
I don't know if they're challenges, but I think these three things will remain, not just today, even 50 years from now, these things will be the key points for running a dealership and for making or breaking a brand. But I don't know if the topic that you have chosen are made or broken only at a dealership. I think it needs to be far more collaborative. Let me take an example.
That's what the topic is, collaboration.
Yeah. So let me take an example. I have the best of infrastructure, I have the best manpower in place, and I give customer actually he's delighted when he takes delivery of his vehicle. He drives 5 kilometers and his vehicle breaks down. Is the dealership responsible?
Product issues also. So we can't just keep our eyes off that.
It's the promise that we need to make as an ecosystem. It's a promise that we need to make as a manufacturer-dealer relationship. And not just about if the product is successful, it's the manufacturer. If it is not, it's the dealer. It can never be that.
Very well said, very well said. So it has to be a joint responsibility. So yes, when it's a product issue, then of course, it's a very good thing, because when it's a product issue, it is the dealer salesperson who has to face the heat. The OE person is not there at that moment to face the product issue or the dissatisfied with the angry customer. So there, the dealer person is, in a way, if it's a product issue and not a PDI or a, some other negligence issue, if it's a pure product or a manufacturing issue, then the dealer person is actually covering up for the OE, if you see. So it has to work as a team, because the topic also is best practices for exponential success. So it has to be collaborative. But the focal point is all the services, whether it's sales, service, spares, they get out to the customer from the dealership. Hence, we are saying that the brand gets built or killed at the dealership, but the responsibility is joint.
Yeah. So I think taking this a little further, when you're talking of the quality of infrastructure, quality of manpower, quality of training, and finally the experience which the customer has in the showroom. And I think that's where, as a customer touch point, I'm responsible for giving that customer experience to the customer when he, let's say, comes in to take a brand and he has an image of a brand, that this is the brand that he's going to buy. So a lot of investment is done in the dealership by a dealer based on certain business parameters, based on a certain business model. And what has really happened, I mean, if you look at the Indian landscape of auto retail, there have been brands which have come and gone. There have been brands where the dealer has invested a huge amount of money. But what the dealer didn't fail, the brand failed. So that's where the dealer, I think, that's where he is always in a psych. Should he not? What happens to my brand? Is my investment protected? Because today when I become a dealer, I have no knowledge. I have no knowledge of how the brand is going to perform. I have no knowledge of the longevity of the brand in my market. I am making an investment based upon a lot of promises which have been made to me as a brand.
Exactly.
So is the brand living up to the promises that it has given to the dealer?
So Nikunj sir, can we say it is like a marriage? Is that the right term to be used?
It's more than a marriage.
It's more than a marriage. So it's more than a marriage. Okay, so I think we'll switch gears and let's come to our digital warriors right away. So Rishab, you've been running Droom, and Droom is all over the place. A lot of funding you guys have. We keep seeing so many ads, expensive media you keep buying. So what is your take on the brand, automotive brand, getting built or killed at the dealership from a digital standpoint?
So I think I have kind of 2 points that I'd like to make. I think the first one is that I don't think the dealer solely makes or breaks the brand. Sorry. I think collaboration the word, I don't know marriage and greater than marriage, but I would say
Are you married, by the
I
way?
just got married.
Oh, wow.
That's why I said.
Congratulations. So welcome to the club.
Thank you. So I think collaboration is really, really important, whether it's between the manufacturer, the dealer, and I'd like to throw people like us in the mix as well, because from our interaction with dealers, and we are a 4-year-old company. The first 2 years we spent focusing on second-hand vehicles. The last 1.5 years, there's been a big push on the new vehicle side. Whether we talk to new vehicle dealers or used vehicle dealers, the consumer is doing a significant amount of research before coming to the dealership, right? Whether that research is through television, newspaper, or digital, right? So we like to kind of work backwards from the customer and say the customer is the focus. He's spending a lot of time on Google, on Facebook, on other properties, looking at magazines, and then walks into the dealership. And absolutely, like you said, the dealer gets to influence a big part of that purchase decision because that's a touch point. But I would argue there are a lot of other factors that are playing a role in, number one, the consumer deciding, and number two, also success and failure of a brand.
Yeah, we saw in the case of General Motors. It's like an example right in front of us. And there are a lot of ex-GM people in the hall. There are a lot of ex-GM dealers in the hall. So a lot of pleasure, a lot of pain. But really hats off to FADA as a fraternity, the way they stood up for the dealer fraternity when they needed them the most. Really hats off. I think a round of applause for FADA for that. So Tanuj, we'll switch gears and we'll come to you. You are having so many dealerships. You are going, all engines firing, or probably all motors running if it's EV time now. So you have BMW, you have Hyundai, you have KTM, Mahindra, you have Tata Motors. Sorry if I forgot some name. It's a long list. So much money you've invested in infrastructures. So many promises have been made to you from OEMs. So what is your experience when it comes to building or killing the brand at the dealership?
So when we talk about the promises made by the OEM, I generally differ on that point. The product has to be promising. We are traders. We are into business of trading. I just buy cars and sell cars and then service it to make money. So the business model is pretty simple. Most of the times it is like the product and the customer. We are just the connection between them. We just need to felicitate the sales and give a product experience. So our product basically is the experience what we sell. And it can differ from dealer to dealer, but not from dealership of my own. So even if I am selling 5 brands, doesn't matter, my dealership experience, what I sell is almost the same everywhere. So this is where I feel the connect with the customer stays alive and you can excel in all the parameters. So you were talking about that the dealers are the best, businessmen and the best acumen holding guys. Absolutely. I differ again. I think the OEMs are the best ones. They take care of all such best acumen guys.
Do you want the Nissan or the Kia dealership next? I was just wondering.
So we are basically the brand custodians. We project the confidence the brand needs to show to the customer, and that's our job. So I keep it pretty simple to my understanding that we are traders, we are brand custodians, we need to reflect what the brand has to the customers with the right confidence and give him the right experience.
So then what happened to General Motors? Why did they back up? Was that right business decision according to you?
See, from at this stage, I'm too small to comment on that, but I would definitely put my viewpoint. I feel that the decision was not so good enough because India is quite emerging as a market. General Motors was a brilliant company, brilliant products. I've been selling General Motors for 14 years before they closed down. So my experience with the product, the customer expectations, the brand, everything was excellent. So the only thing what they lacked was the confidence I guess they had in India. So
exactly. So at one point we had an OEM like General Motors exiting, and on the other side we have 3 companies coming in the country. We have MG, we have Peugeot, and we have Kia. Yep. Kia being straight, most emerging, doing the biggest investment, biggest plant, a huge investment and a show at the Auto Expo. So, Mr. Bhat, you have heard almost all the panelists. And you have got a take on, you have been an industry veteran yourself, you have worked in the automotive, you have worked in the services side, insurance, you have seen it from inside, you've seen it from outside, OEMs, dealers, and you are out here to establish your brand. What is your take on it, on this dealer-OEM relationship?
See, I think I have a very comparatively simplistic view. I partly agree with what Mr. Pugalia said, and partly with him also. See, it is basically a collaboration. It is, you can call it a marriage, maybe, but a marriage in which both parties are interested in the same objective. Basically, please the customer and make money. It is true for the OEM. OEM is here to make money, and so is the dealer. But then again, mostly the OEM does have a lot of experience. Like Mr. Pugalia said, it's a good experience, and they try to make a good experience for the customer, a consistent one across the website, across the dealership, across all the touch points. Normally, everything else being the same, everything else being okay, the 5 Ps being okay, the OEM should be on the correct path, provided everyone implements whatever has been decided upon very correctly. The problem normally comes in the implementation or in the basic strategy. Like, let's say the basic strategy is correct. Then normally I have seen that the problem comes in the implementation. For example, infrastructure. We have the best infrastructure. Let's say a Mercedes one. But even in the Mercedes one, in case, for example, a small thing, like the toilet is not clean, where the entire experience of the customer gets spoiled just by that one thing. Secondly, for example, the dealership salesperson, if he is not in sync with the customer, if he is not in sync with what the dealership has asked him to communicate, we have a bad experience straight. This can come because of many things. Like one, okay, maybe the OEM has asked for a certain set of trainings to be done to the dealer salesperson. That has not been done. Or even if it has been done, maybe you're penny pinching. You're not giving him enough incentive. He's dissatisfied. There are many things that are possible in this. Infrastructure, mostly I would believe that every dealer does implement it 100%. But it is, I think, the finer points, the basics that are not being maintained, which normally are the cause for the customer dissatisfaction. Other thing is, today digital is very much in vogue. Like everyone is going into digital before coming to the dealership also. So there also there are most of the sites, my own included, possibly are not the best. They don't really communicate what the customer actually wants to know. It's not in sync with the overall image of the company. So all these things are, to my mind, they spoil the collaboration or they spoil the effect to the customer.
Okay, I'll take 2 cues from your words, Mr. Bhat. Remind me if I forget. One is the digital, the other is toilet. Okay, if I forget any one of them, please remind me. Digital. So when it comes to digital, we have the OEMs who have budgets. They have digital marketing person or digital marketing team in the OEMs. They are driving it through their digital marketing agencies on Facebook, on different mediums, LinkedIn, this, that, online, Google, AdWords, display. And on the other side, we have dealers who are just there to take guidance from the OEMs and also enterprising to go to Google and Facebook directly, either through our forums. In fact, I saw Nikunj sir's picture. Sir, I think you were at the Google office the other day. And so that is also very enterprising, going to the Google office and getting it straight from the horse's mouth. So what does the panel feel can be the best digital go-to-market strategy? How much should be the focus on the digital marketing platforms? How much on car sites? How much on digital marketing agencies? What do you feel is the right mix?
I think what is important is that digital definitely is the future. There was a time where most dealers felt digital was OEM. That's his responsibility. And we will do what manufacturers asked us. I think that time is definitely
It's changing now.
It's changed already.
Changed already.
I think now the digital presence of the dealer probably has to be much more stronger than the OEM themselves. Because we all know that 80% of the customers are well aware of the brand, of specifications, of comparisons, and they don't come into the showroom to get knowledge on product. They don't come into the showroom to compare competition because they're aware of it.
They might know more than the salesperson at times.
They definitely know more than salesperson because they have done far more research on competition than my own salesman would have. So what they're coming into the showroom is for a purchase experience. But do they come to my showroom? is not an OEM responsibility when it comes to digital. It is equally my responsibility that my digital presence should be so strong that they decide to come to my showroom, because there could be 4 showrooms of the same brand in the same city. Which showroom do they choose? I think that a lot would depend upon how digitally strong I am, how digitally aware I am, and what is my response time to the customer. Because I think unless you click on a button, you're talking about Amazon and Flipkart, you click on a button and you don't get a call, you don't get a response from the dealership, you've lost the sale.
Exactly. In fact, this reminds me when we were promoting Motor Uncle on Google AdWords and on Facebook, we were doing heavy promotions of Motor Uncle, our in-house innovation, which we plan to, make a separate baby, remove from the shadows of WAF. We would run Google AdWords and we would get calls from customers. Hello, is this Jeep showroom? Hello, is this Toyota? Because we had cracked the code back then as to how my Google AdWord comes ahead of the official OE AdWord, their agency, without paying, big money. So there that code was cracked. So there's a lot of potential in innovation also, in how startups can actually harness this level playing field, which has become level playing field all of a sudden with the established brands. And talking about toilets, I think, correct me Hardeep if I'm wrong, and also Avigda, I think I had heard there was this senior person in, I think Maruti, who used to, when on his dealer visits, he used to first go and check the toilet of the dealership. And he used to evaluate the entire dealership's health from the condition of the washroom. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there was a Japanese director called Kinji Saito. That was his first thing. Even for that matter, Mr. Khattar as well. Whenever he would go, he would get into the toilets to see how the dealerships are. So very right.
Okay, so you might have a 5-star infrastructure, but if it's not maintained, just like you need to bathe every day, you need motivation every day, you need the upkeep every day. So yes, the OEMs set the standards, the dealers with the OEMs, with their guidance have to comply, but it's a joint effort. The cars or vehicles might sell to the dealership, but it's a collaborative. And Kshitij, I had saved you the best for the last.
That's very polite.
Yeah, so you are now the biggest auto CRM company in the country. And I'm sure you will be seeing a lot of diverse kind of feedbacks in your CRM system coming from sales, after sales, according to you, because I see you as a big repository of precious customer feedback and insight. According to you, which are the top 3 problems which you see across coming from consumer as a feedback? 3 in sales, 3 in after sales.
All right. So I'll answer that. But I just have a quick note on the question that the panel is trying to answer.
Sure.
Which is about, the auto brand itself. It's built at the dealership or broken at the dealership. So the way I think about this is that a brand is basically a set of promises, right? Done to the consumer.
True, very true.
And these promises are of a different nature. When it comes to OEMs, it's a different promise being made. When it comes to dealership, it's a different promise being made. In the sense that when the positioning statement that the OEM has, whether it is power, performance, safety, those are promises of the OEM brand. But what are the promises that a dealer actually makes? And I think the answer of that lies in the positioning statements that you guys yourself have. For example, if I look at Advait Hyundai, so that is the largest Hyundai dealership in India, in Bangalore. They also have a Maruti dealership, Garda Maruti. They have a Ford dealership, Kaveri Ford, Akshaya Ford. They have a Mercedes dealership called Akshaya Mercedes. They have all brands, right? They're very, very large, massive entity. Every single of these 6-7 brands they have carries the exact same tagline. Okay? So Kaveri Ford has the same tagline, Akshaya Mercedes, same tagline, Advait Hyundai, same tagline. The tagline is, caring for you always. Okay, that's the only tagline. So essentially, the brand promise of a dealer is that you will be fair to your customers, you will take the right decisions, you will not be unfair. Okay, and the auto business is a business where there are a lot of different kind of complaints. Customers, I don't know, a large chunk of customers are also unfair themselves sometimes. But
absolutely, customers can also have malifieds.
And even in those cases, you have to run an organization, of people, 200 people, 500 people. And everyone has to have that thing instilled in them ki you have to be fair, you have to be polite no matter how the customer is. So I think that is a critical thing that dealerships have to get right. And I've seen dealers, some great dealers like even Mr. Sanghi, I've seen great dealers make amazing sacrifices or amazing investments or amazing decisions, or even the principle that behind those decisions, in the favor of their customers. For example, for the longest time, one of the larger Maruti dealers I knew in Bangalore did not used to like selling used cars. In the sense, exchange cars that would come in. I was talking to Steve about this just some time back, that he would parcel all of these cars and sell them directly to some broker.
Agents, back to back.
Yeah, directly, instead of selling it himself, okay, in true value. And he could have made money by selling it himself, more money, because the broker would give him less money.
Obviously.
And he would not do it himself because he said, the problem I'm facing is in the city of Bangalore, I have got too many lemons. I've got upwards of 30% lemons. And it's very, very hard. If I try to put my brand or the Maruti brand or any other kind of brand, on those vehicles, even if I try to sell it to a broker, so basically he wasn't that kind of fix. I cannot be unfair to my customers in any way. So let some broker take it, dismantle it, do what he wants to do. I don't want to be in this business at all, even if it makes money for me.
So you're saying that being fair and polite to the customer, and as the example that you took of Nikunj sir and also that Bangalore dealer, that they go beyond their limits, they go beyond an extra mile, they even are ready to miss an opportunity of making an extra buck, but they will not compromise or sacrifice on being fair and polite to the customer. So can that be taught through training, or that is a recruitment issue totally?
It's always a training thing, always.
I disagree, Kshitij. I think it's the culture. And it's the culture which the dealer owner will need to instill in his dealership.
Fair.
And which will never come out of training. Being transparent to the customer is a culture. I might tell you, please be fair, and tell him, please overcharge on value add service. So one statement is, please be fair. The second statement is, you need to make extra money. So it's a culture which will need to come from me to my entire team. So I think transparency is a ballpark, and which comes not just with the customer, it's the entire ecosystem, which means transparency with my OEM, transparency with every business associate, with my employees. And if I'm transparent with each one of the persons in my ecosystem, it's only then will I be transparent with my customer. So it's a culture, and culture never comes out of training.
Absolutely. It's either culture or agriculture. In fact, what even Tanuj had mentioned, what Tanuj also mentioned, that whether you go to any of the brands within the Gallops Motors, the experience is consistent. So unless that DNA is there, which goes beyond, it should not be that I'm selling an entry-level product of an economy brand, so my experience will be any less or lesser. Or so why can't it be just like top of the line? Why can't even the entry-level car or brand be given a BMW or a Mercedes standard experience? Because there is no price for warmth. There is no price you have to pay extra for politeness or for being respectable to the customer. So yes, it can be through training, it has to be culture, and you have to do it on the floor yourself. Absolutely. It's just like if you tell a kid not to lie, but you tell your wife, bol do ki main bathroom mein hu, whoever is called, tell the person I'm in the washroom. So the kid learns from watching, not from what you say. So when the DP, the OE people are right on the shop, on the showroom floor, doing things the way they need to be done, that's what creates the example. That's what creates the culture, top down, and that gets the earnings and the respect bottoms up. Okay, so I think we are out of time. Any questions? We can take 2 questions. If you have any questions, please feel free. 2 questions. I know it's post-lunch, and we are just, not very far away from the tea break too. And we have a nice band for you guys, to pep you up, to have you fully charged for the last panel. Okay, no questions? Okay, so thank you so very much, fellow panelists. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate you coming over. Thank you, thank you.
Please do remain on stage. I would like to invite Mr. Avik Chattopadhyay, co-founder Experial, Mr. Kapil Khandelwal from Top Line, and Mr. Gaurav Thakkar from Quality Kiosk to come and felicitate our panel members. Mr. Tanuj Pugalia. Mr. Nikunj Sanghi. Please, a big round of applause. Mr. Manohar Bhat. Mr. Hardeep Brar. Mr. Kshitij Saxena. Mr. Rishab Malik. Keep the applause coming, please. And of course, Mr. Anuj Guglani. Loud round of applause there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I think the mandatory